Hello, and welcome back to the Oracle Scroll. Today, we're going to talk about harvest. What's in your harvest? Continuing with the as yet unnamed new cards that I am working with, I am using card number 27, and that is the title entitled Harvest. Harvest. You know, we think of that time of year, the harvest time, of being a time of plenty and a time of gathering, and a time that allows us to enjoy the fruits of our labors. But in order to reach a harvest, we have to do a lot of hard work and exercise a tremendous amount of patience in the process. Now, in a family that does a lot of gardening, it's well understood what's necessary. You have to amend the soil to make it ready to receive the seed. And then you have to nurture the seed and make sure that it is taken care of properly so that it can mature and begin to blossom and produce a plant that is going to support life and produce fruit. All of this takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of insight as well, knowing when to take action and when to just relax and wait, when to add water, minerals, or whatever other fertilizers might be necessary, and when to just allow the plant to work on its own. Those are all aspects of gardening that gardeners will understand totally. Those of us who are not necessarily gardeners, those same principles apply to our daily routines and the things that we hope to reap. And the old saying goes that you reap what you sow. So having a clear picture of the seed that we're planting is extremely important as we begin that process of waiting for the plant to produce, waiting for that opportunity to mature. So as we plant the seed, and this year especially, many of the seeds that we have planted may have already withered, may have already gone by the wayside because there was not a sufficient environment for their survival. So that's important for us too. How do we go about creating an environment that will produce the harvest that we're looking for? Having a clear picture, as I mentioned before, of what you expect to harvest. I mean, if you plant seeds and you're expecting to pick peppers and suddenly it's full of cucumbers, that doesn't work very well. So you have to make sure that you have actually planted the seed that you hope to achieve, the seed that the harvest that is going to really produce what you want. That's important. And then there is the other side of that coin where if we're just a little lackadaisical, and boy, any gardener will tell you, it only takes a day of ignoring your plant and suddenly you can have an outrageous growth. Cucumbers, zucchinis are absolutely perfect examples of this. One that might be just a fingerling to begin with and ignored for one day is suddenly too huge and full of water to be able to use. So that's the other side of our coin. When do we do that harvest? When is that item that we're looking for? When is that situation that we're trying to produce? When is it ripe? When is it ready for harvest? All of this takes understanding and wisdom and observation, close observation. And it is nurturing, even though you may not physically touch the plant at any point beyond a certain point of nurturing. Even though you may not physically touch it, you are mentally touching it each time you check for new produce. Each time you check to see just how it's doing. It is sinking its roots deeper into the soil and producing the fruit that you have asked for. And that is what makes a harvest so impressive. We have to be able and ready to recognize when the item we've been asking for is actually ready and ripe for the picking. So, as we begin to enter a harvest season, here we are in 2020, in middle of August, we are already starting to harvest, and we're starting to see how these seeds are maturing into brand new, beautiful blossoming plants and producing the fruit that we have asked for. So yes, we're starting to reap those early harvests, and then the later crops will continue into the middle of October, even sometimes into November. We'll be harvesting some of the fruits and vegetables and other things that we have planted in our garden. So the idea here is harvest. It's the goal. It's what we're looking for, and we have to start now, and if not much earlier, we have to start with planting, amending the soil, fertilizing, doing the things that are absolutely necessary for the health and survival of our harvest. Now, this particular card is card number 27, which numerologically is a 9. And 9s are all about completions, wrapping things up, putting things together, buttoning them down, and being able to reap that harvest. It's a perfect number for a harvest kind of atmosphere. So let's get ready. Let's reap a bountiful harvest this year. Even though we may not, all of our plans didn't come to fruition, even though all of our garden did not survive the heat of summer or the miserable, elongated wetness of spring, we have many things to be grateful for and many things to gather into ourselves as our harvest. So let's join everyone in celebrating our own personal harvest, our community harvest, our regional and our national, the harvest that we have produced as a people. Thank you once again for joining us for this episode of the Oracle Scroll. My books, Tarot for Lunch, Lessons from the Cards, and more recently, 22 Teachers, Healing Lessons from the Major Arcana, are both available on Amazon.com. Please check them out. They are very informative and helpful in learning and understanding the tarot. Also, please stop by kevinwalder.com, my website. You can book appointments for any of the services available at that spot. So stop by and take a look today. And most importantly, please subscribe by hitting the little red button down below, and also click the bell to make sure you don't ever miss an episode. Thanks a lot for coming by today. Bye-bye.